Thanks. Are we ready to go? Thank you, David Lizow. Mr. David Lizow from Plano, Texas is involved in the recording of these programs, and I believe if you want a copy of any of our programs that he copies, talk to David Lizow and he will tell you how to get a copy of these programs. As most of you know, my name's Randy Campbell. I have the privilege of being Education Chairman for Fun for my 38th straight year. And during those years, we've had some truly outstanding speakers, but in my opinion, none better or more important than Mr. Bob Hurst, who I've known for quite some time also. In fact, I kind of hinted around that I thought Bob would make a very good board member, and in fact, he's made not only a good board member, but a great president as well. He's currently vice president of Fun, and he's one of the hardest working board members we've ever had in the history of this organization. I'm very proud of what Bob has done for us. And he's going to continue in that tradition with his program this afternoon entitled Topical Collecting of World Coins. People are collecting coins now by topics: birds, dinosaurs. One gentleman who's a customer of ICG, the grading service that I work for, sent us in coins with elephants on them from about 11 or 12 different nations. And it's a fascinating area. Bob is all about putting more fun, more enjoyment, more pleasure into your coin collecting experience. And today's topic about topical collecting and world coins is certainly addressing that issue. You're going to get a lot more fun out of your coin collecting experience based on what you learned today from our own Bobby Hurst. Could we please have a round of applause?
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, sir. Well, thank you very much, folks. I've always given talks on foreign coins, mostly dollars and crown size coins, and I thought, you know, that was getting old, so I came up with a different idea and went with topical coins. But Randy already gave the whole talk when he was talking about those elephants and that kind of stuff, so thank you, Randy. But truly, I really enjoy foreign coins. That's all I do. My wife and I travel around the country, and I buy and sell foreign and ancient coins. Foreign coins are just, to me, the best way to go. I collected large cents back in the 70s. I collected Morgan dollars in the 80s. I collected bust half dollars in the 70s and 80s. And after a while, to me, it just looked like when you would look at the collection, everything looked the same. The only thing that changed was the date. So that's when I kind of thought to myself, I need to get into an area where when I look at the collection, I'm looking at a myriad of different things. And I think that this talk today for you folks will be interesting, and it also gives you an idea of how easy it is to collect some really neat looking coins, and also at the same time enjoy it. And on top of all that is probably the least expensive way to collect coins other than pennies out of your pocket. Foreign coins in general have not really gone high in value for the modern stuff. So you can pick up some really scarce and rare foreign coins today that are on the market that are modern coins for under $100. And if you hold them, I promise you they will go up. One of the things that I've noticed is the Australian Mint and the Perth Mint, and also the Canadian Mint, the Royal Canadian Mint, when they put out their new coins, they'll put them out and put them up for sale here at the Fun Show or at A&A or one of the bigger shows in Baltimore, and they'll put them out for sale for $75, $80, and they'll sell out. They'll completely sell out. And the next time you see them, they're like 150 to 200. So that's what I'm looking at. You know, if you like the coins, go ahead and buy those things, because I know they'll go up for you. Okay, let's see if I can get this thing going. I'm gonna do it. Nope, we'll do it this way. Welcome to the 2016 Fun Educational Programs. Topic is topical collecting world coins. Yeah, David, you want to hit that? Thank you. Okay, what I'm going to do is try to give you an idea, as I said, of the topical coins. There are hundreds and hundreds of different topical coins. I'd rather use this. Okay. I'll give you a second that you can read that. And it's basically just giving you an idea, summarizing what I just said a few minutes ago. It's very educational. It can be fun. You can pick up these coins anywhere, at any show. Big show like the Fun Show, small show like I'm going to be at next week in Vero Beach, which is only 40 tables. This type of collecting you can buy anywhere, which makes it all the more fun. Okay, African animals. I think this is really cool. You got here you got a hippo from Sierra Leone. It's a $10 coin out of Sierra Leone. And as you can see, the artwork there is really good. I'm going to fall back on our U.S. Mint for a second, and I look at the quarters that they came out with, the statehood quarters and the territorial quarters. The artwork on that stuff is not that great, in my opinion. Okay, the Wyoming quarter. Anybody familiar with the Wyoming quarter? That's got to be the ugliest thing that's ever been made. It's a horse and it's flat, and that's all there is there. These other mints around the world are coming out with coins that are just making the U.S. look really, really bad. And this is just an example of that. Here's one from Tanzania with the zebra. Notice the scallop shape on the coin. Now, coins like this you can pick up in any dealer's junk box for probably 10 cents. So that's how easy it is to collect this type stuff. Really nice giraffe, a proof coin, again, Sierra Leone for $10, or they're $10. You could probably pick that up at any show for $15, $20 max. It's a silver coin. It's basically 1 ounce. I love this this gorilla. That's really nice artwork on that gorilla from the Congos. It's a 5,000 franc piece. Again, that one is 1 ounce, as you can see there. It's a 1 ounce 999 silver. A lot of the new Kamims that are coming out from these different mints are 1 ounce and they're 999, or a half ounce of 999, and they'll put the 999 on there, which you have never seen before. They're starting to do that, so you're guaranteed what you're getting. There's a rhino from Zimbabwe. It's a $5 coin. Again, that's a coin you can pick up in a junk box for 10, 15 cents. So you're seeing my idea where you can buy them here, you can buy them here, and later on I'll show you some that are up in here too, but not that high. Algeria, there's a nice gazelle. It's another one of those cheap coins that you can get out of a dealer's junk box. And it would make a fantastic coin for a collection. A nice stylized lion out of Ethiopia, that's a 1 burr piece. Now, as these things start catching on, and Randy and I were talking yesterday about this, he's seeing more and more and more of this type coin coming into his grading service because people are going, wow, these are neat, you know? And it really doesn't matter the condition as far as I'm concerned. I don't like slabs. I'm totally against slabs, but that's me. I want coins that I can touch, look at whenever I want to, and they're not hiding behind a piece of plastic. Okay, finish it off with the African animals with an ancient coin from Julius Caesar, 49 BC on that one. Now that coin's going to cost you $400 or $500 on the low side. But it gives you an idea of how long topical coins have been in existence. Okay, it's just not a modern thing. It's been there for a long, long time. Big cats. I think this is a pretty good little section too. There's a nice tiger out of Thailand, 100 baht coin. As you can tell, that's a very deep cameo proof like. Send that into NGC, ICG, Annex, whoever. A coin like that will probably come back to 69 or 70. But it's a silver coin. You know, it's really not going to skyrocket like a U.S. coin on today's market, a proof dollar or something like that. And here's another stylized one out of Kazakhstan. Nice stylized piece. And that is actually a gold overlay on that coin. And a set of tigers there, or a tiger with her cub from Laos. It's a 1,000 kip piece. You can ask questions anytime you want to in this. So if you see something, want to stop me, just let me know. There's another one from India, another tiger. I was really kind of surprised because there's so many tigers that are in India that they didn't do a lot better job on that particular coin, but it's still a topical coin of a big cat. This is out of Mongolia. Mongolia has entered the world coin market with some really, really beautiful coins. In my other talks that I've done, I've always added one of the Mongolian pieces in there, and my wife asked me, why didn't you put that back in this talk? And it's a little hedgehog, and it's just the cutest thing ever. But they are really expensive. It took me a long time to justify spending what I spent on that little hedgehog.
And how much would that be?
A little hedgehog, I bought mine for $250, but they go up to about $500 for the same, the same thing. But it's the cutest coin ever made. And there's a pair of lions, a male and female lion in Namibia. And this is another thing that they're doing a lot of outside of the U.S. is putting on these overlays, okay? You can find, like on the American Silver Eagle, some of the overlays for Lady Liberty on the front. That just peels right off. These normally don't peel off. But they are really pretty. Canada is big into that, putting in the overlays. And here's another big cat from Ionia. It's a silver Himidrak, and that's from about 230 BC. And again, I fall back on the thing, topical coins are not a modern thing. Birds. Everybody knows that there's birds on coins. I mean, we've used birds on coins. Everybody's used birds on coins, but here's some really cool ones. Here's a nice Greek owl on a 2 drachma piece. And I'll tell you, that same style owl is on the Athenian owl from 420 BC. That same style. Matter of fact, the Athenian owl was put out by Alexander the Great to fund the Peloponnesian Wars. And it's the same style owl, but much more in depth. Okay, here we've got a nice little crane from New Zealand, $2 coin. Not flashy, but it still fits in the category. And I'll tell you, if you set your mind out in any one of these areas, you'd be amazed how many coins you'll find in the birds, the big cats, and all that. You'd be absolutely amazed how many you'll be able to find. Slovenia, this looks like a swift or a swallow. Nice coin. Can't pronounce the denomination of it. If anybody else can, let me know. It's a pretty coin. And we got Gibraltar. It looks like a little grouse. And that's a 1 penny coin. There's another one of those 5-cent coins out of a junk box. The kookaburras. Everybody's familiar with the kookaburras out of Australia. They've been doing these for quite some time, and every year they pose the kookaburras a little bit differently. But the 2001 with them back to back, I think is kind of cute. The pelican out of Albania. A lot of people probably thought that pelicans were only in Florida. They're everywhere. Out of Belarus, we've got this swan. Again, beautiful artwork on these coins. Here's one of Canada's entry, and Canada has a whole series of birds, and they're all with the overlays. They're just absolutely gorgeous coins. I didn't want to inundate you with putting all the Canadian coins in this talk because I'd be in here for an hour. But that's on a quarter, and they've done it with quarters, halves, and dollar size coins.
Those aren't circulating coins, those are non-circulating legal tender?
They're legal tender. They're absolutely legal tender, yeah.
They're not circulating.
Actually, I have picked up some of them in change. Yeah. Okay, here's an eagle that is on the Ptolemaic coin. Notice there, 426 BC. And the AE34 on a lot of the ancient coins, rather than having the actual denomination of the coin, because they have no record of what it was actually called, so they came up with this process now of using an AE, which is bronze, and 34 is 34 millimeters. Dinosaurs. And this was, as Randy was talking about, he said, you know, people brought an alligator, dinosaurs, that kind of stuff. And I told him, I said, well, you blew my talk, but okay. Dinosaurs. There's another Canadian entry, $20 coin. Artwork is awesome. Another Canadian coin, that's a 25-cent piece with another overlay. A brontosaurus out of Tuvalu. A lot of these coins, that's a 1 ounce coin. A lot of these coins are made for these countries out of the Pobjoy Mint, the British Royal Mint, Canadian Mint, Australia, Perth Mint. And what they'll do is they'll sign an agreement with these countries that they can use their country's name on the coin. They'll give them a percentage or a contract price, and then they ship all these coins out to the different dealers and stuff, and they're not meant for circulation. They're strictly collector coins. Another nice coin from the Isle of Man. Isle of Man has probably the most animals of any small country. I don't think that the Isle of Man, Isle of Man is about this big, and they've got more coins and more subjects than any place I've ever seen. Nice T-Rex. Another one out of Sierra Leone, another brontosaurus. That coin is a copper nickel coin, it's not silver. Again, you're back to a junk box. This one may cost you a quarter. That's a real nice brontosaurus out of Korea, South Korea. It's 500 won. That one is silver. That's a 999 coin. Again, the frosting on this thing is just remarkable. Another Canadian entry, another 25-cent coin. Normally when you buy these, they're in special packs, you know, a little clamshell pack. But a lot of these things get broken out of those packs. Kids get them, they spend them because they are legal. So if you get lucky, you find one in circulation or in a coin shop where somebody's brought in a Canadian collection and say, hey, you know, you want to buy this? And of course, on a 25-cent coin, most dealers will pay like 12 cents. So, and then they ship them back to Canada. Okay, famous people. George Washington on a Liberia coin. Liberia has lots of coins with different people on them. I just pulled this one out as a famous person because I guess everybody knows who George Washington is. Winston Churchill from the Turks Caicos. Churchill, this is a large size crown. It's actually 1 0.47 ounces of 999. So it's a little hefty. The British Mint came out with a commemorative of Churchill. It's called the Churchill dollar. It's copper nickel. And I've got a bag full at home. I'll sell you for 25 cents each. There was a bank in Atlanta a couple years ago that were giving people the Churchill dollars, not this one, but the Churchill dollars, the copper nickel ones. When they opened up an account, they just gave them one of these. And a friend of mine has a shop that was down the street from that particular bank. And he said a guy came in one day with a basket full of Churchill dollars. And he bought them at 25 cents each. And he said the guy came back about 2 hours later with another basket full. He said, where's he getting these things? So he followed him. The bank had taken every one of them and put them in a dumpster. All they had left, they put them in a dumpster. So this guy was dumpster diving and bring them down and get 25 cents each for them. So there was probably over 1,000 of them that they had dumped. Okay, Napoleon. This is actually Napoleon the First. And you can get the whole string of Napoleon, the family. Egypt, you got Cleopatra on this 50 piastres piece. This is another 10, 15 cent coin. Very pretty. Nice artwork for, for a small coin. Tsar Nicholas, Russia, 5 ruble. This is a gold piece, so you're going to pay the gold value for that. Typically, you're just going to pay just a hair over gold for it, unless you buy it from a foreign dealer. A foreign dealer is going to get more for it than an American dealer will. Why? Where'd I go here? The foreign dealers are going to go by the value of the coin. Most U.S. dealers could care less about what that coin's worth. They don't want to take the time to look them up. So they'll buy them a little bit behind melt and they'll sell them for a little over melt. Just the way it is with some of the U.S. dealers. Okay, here's a coin out of the Philippines with MacArthur. There's a 50-cent piece, and there's also peso. Basically the same design on both. And they almost always come fully frosted. You rarely ever see them that aren't looking like that. And here we have Livia, the wife of Augustus. Again, it's an AE, but this one is called an AE as. That's the denomination, 22 AD. I thought she was kind of famous, so I put her up there. Fish. Let's go into the fish area. Got a nice piece there from Corsica Island. A little tiny fish out of the Sultan of Pemba. These are 5-cent coins. A manta ray out of Micronesia, a $1 coin. Pick it up in a junk box for 25 cents. A nice fish out of Cook Islands. It's a 50-cent piece. It's another 15-cent coin that you could buy. I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. Okay, a flying fish out of Barbados. Anybody been on any cruise? You ever see the flying fish as you're going out in the ocean? They hit the waves and they just take off. They're really cool. Never seen one up close. You always see them in the wake. A coelacanth. Is anybody familiar with the coelacanth? That was thought to be extinct thousands and thousands of years ago until they hooked one. Actually, I think the first one they caught was in a net, and they've hooked several since then. And all of a sudden they're going, well, this is a prehistoric fish because they know they got fossils of these things that are millions of years old. So this is actually a living dinosaur.
Evolutionary survivor.
Huh?
Evolutionary survivor.
Correct, yeah, absolutely. And they're thinking that, you know, if you got something like that that's living in the deep ocean, there may be more down there that we don't know about. Here's another coin that's Palau, beautiful overlay. You'll see this a lot on the Australian coins, this type of overlay. Almost a full overlay on that coin. And here's an obia from ancient Greece, 410 BC to 400. And it's basically a dolphin. You can find them, that half, you'll find them all the way down to the fluke, but you never see the fluke. They don't exist with a full fluke on them. Flora. This is the fun one. Out of the Ukraine, a nice little flower here. A nice little group of grapes from Armenia. 1,000 dram. 25-cent coin. Another one of Canadia's entry, a $20 black-eyed Susan. Now you have to admit these coins, some of these coins are really pretty. And there's a whole series in Canada for that. And also out of Australia. This Cook Islands coins are struck out of Australia. This is a very unusual piece out of Canada. It's on a 25-cent piece. It's a prickly pear flower. You turn it over and it's got Queen Elizabeth on it, but that's the entire reverse of that coin. It's kind of interesting the way they did that. And then we got a wheat stock from Metapontum, ancient stater from about 325 BC. If anybody's familiar with some of the ancient cities, Metapontum is actually inside the heel and foot. It's just straight across from Taranto. Horses, this one's kind of interesting. You can find quite a number of different type horses that they've done. This is a nice Pegasus out of Greece. I call it a horse, it's a Pegasus, but it falls in line with the horses. Pair of horses out of Topical, $5 coin. This one may cost you $10 or $15. There's another nice overlay out of Tuvalu. Nice running horse out of Australia. And if you noticed on this, the characters are in Chinese. But what they're doing is these are the Oriental calendar years, the different animals for the different calendar years. And that's a 2-ounce one, so that's going to cost you, $40, $50 for that. And then we've got another one from Presidia. This is a bronze 18 millimeter. Another one that one is about 375 BC. Poultry. I thought this was kind of interesting too. Got a nice little chicken there out of Norway. Another one out of the Congo. Another one out of Australia. I mean, it's kind of amazing that all these different countries kind of use the same themes on their coins. Rooster out of France on their 20 franc gold piece. Another one out of Malawi. We'll shift over and go into some reptiles here for a minute. Alligators out of the Cook Islands. couple years ago, one of the dealers that set up here had some commemorative coins struck for his company, and again had an agreement with the country so he could put the country's name on it. The Florida alligator. Did anybody see those coins when they came out? They're really kind of neat. Yeah. Got a turtle out of the Ukraine. A frog out of Latvia. This is that funny lizard that they've got down in Australia that will chase you and fluff his ears out or whatever the heck that is. They actually have this that same lizard on a coin that's fully overlaid, so it's full color. It's a really pretty coin. And we got a lizard here out of Poland, a snake out of Canada, and there's lots of snakes on coins. It's kind of like watching Survivor. You ever watch Survivor? I don't care where they go, there's always a snake in one of their commercials. That's a nice snake out of Samoa. Very pretty coin. And then another turtle on an ancient coin. Sea creatures. There's a box jellyfish. Anybody familiar with a box jellyfish? Don't get close to them. They will kill you, absolutely. Does anybody have an idea what this is? Out of South Georgia and the Sandwich Isles?
Humpback whales.
No.
Humpback whales, cod,
No. Blue whales. They took the coin, turned it blue, but those are blue whales in there. I thought it was a neat idea the way they did that. We've got a seahorse here out of the Ukraine. I don't think you see too many seahorses around here in the ocean, but I know when I lived overseas, these things were in the Mediterranean everywhere.
Gotta look closer, they're smaller here.
Are they? Okay, we got, again, back to Canada, got a nice little lobster. That one's a 9.99 gold piece, but notice it's a 50-cent piece, little tiny coin. And a crab out of Guernsey on a penny, another 5-cent piece. A conch shell out of the Bahamas, imagine that. You would think that'd be out of South Florida. And an octopus out of Syracuse, Sicily, 343 BC. Ships. This one was kind of interesting because there are a lot of different types of ships, but you'll find more sailing ships than anything. Okay, like I said, here's a 2 zloty out of Poland, sailing ship, early sailing ship, probably from the 1700s. Phoenician ship out of Lebanon. Another sailing ship out of the Isle of Man. That particular one is the Star of India. There's a coin out of Singapore, which is basically a cargo ship. Micronesia, there's a $50 there with one of their outrigger boats. Another early sailing ship out of Liberia. And then a sailing ship from Septimius Severus. This is a silver denarius, about the size of a dime, 202 AD. Now, they do have coins that have the Titanic on them. I didn't want to put them up here because they're all like this, sinking. So I didn't put that one on. Okay, that's the end of the presentation there. I hope that I've given you an idea of the topical coins that you could collect very inexpensively. And it's a collection that you can look at forever and say, you know, they don't all look the same. And, you know, I just really, really hope that I left something with you here and give you an idea of how easy it is to collect and how inexpensive it can be to collect some of these coins. So thank you for your time, and enjoy the show here, and I hope I passed on something that you can enjoy.